Welcome to Go Home Heat, a sports entertainment podcast. We are going to be discussing Raw, Smckdown, and all that entails today on this production. We will have to do it over the phone. Justin believes he has a head cold. He believes he is not in serious danger. However, he will not put me in jeopardy by coming over here and sitting in a hot box with me for multiple hours. So I'm going to call him. We're going to talk. If our phone runs out of juice, we'll pause the convo and come back to it in a second. So without further ado, here's Justin. All right, Justin, how we doing?
Living the dream.
Okay, we just learned that Sean Connery passed, and you just said something I thought was cool. You want to say that again?
Oh, I'm just saying, quite possibly the coolest man to walk the planet during his time. Not many people, were consistently as just cool. There's no other word for it. James Bond, his James Bond is the best James Bond. In every other thing he's been in, he's just been, great. So
God, I love him in Highlander.
Oh, dude, come on, man. That was a cheap throwaway movie, and because Sean Connery's in it, it's a cult classic.
Absolutely. Okay, Monday Night Raw. Drew McIntyre is in the ring to talk about losing. No excuses. I promise to be the WWE champ again. He quotes Rocky here, but what bothered me with this is he acts like that's from Rocky 1 and it's not. That's the Rocky Balboa movie, and it's one of my favorite quotes. Do you know it?
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, I love that movie.
When he tells his son, it's not about how hard you can get hit. No, I'm sorry. I screwed that all up. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. And he tells him about, I see you making a lot of excuses, and that ain't you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's so good. And if you get it, all you have to do is YouTube Rocky Balboa inspirational speech. And even if you don't get that movie, you'll get that speech, and it's right there with all of them in the movie business. It's great. Okay, now then of course Miz and Morrison come out, and this ratchets up a bit. Drew informs them to choose their words carefully, of course, because he's not in the mood to play. The Miz lets him know that, things could be worse, because if you would have won, I would have cashed in on you, and then you would have been, so I saved you some, so Orton saved you some embarrassment,
Oh my gosh, yes. It's so sweet of him.
Drew gets mad, headbutts one of them. I think does he drop the kick on another one? The Claymore?
I don't know. I don't think he got them both. I don't think he Claymored him yet.
Yeah, Morrison was selling like a big dog here.
Oh, he does.
He's so good. He's
like, I'm going to be stuck out here doing this shit. I'm going to,
Yeah, it's semi-bothersome that he's always put in these positions where he's the buffoon, but he's so good. You understand why they would say, go out there and be corny and flip 4 times for nothing.
Yeah, for a headbutt.
Yeah, oh, man. Every second one. But the good thing about The Miz having this contract is that he is pushing the envelope on every minute of this show matters, because if you see the champ, he's in jeopardy. It's the 24/7 title without the comedy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's at any moment, Randy could be walking through the parking lot. I could back the car into him and then cash in right then. You know what I mean?
That'd be great.
Or forklift. Pin him with a forklift like Mankind.
Oh my gosh, do it.
Yes. Okay, Survivor Series qualifying matches are tonight. We get AJ versus Jeff Hardy, Keith Lee versus Elias, Matt Riddle. Who'd Matt Riddle have? That was the main event. Sheamus, that's right. Dude, Sheamus has gotten so good. We'll get there. First, AJ versus Hardy. AJ with the old hugeness as the bodyguard behind him.
The associate, I believe, is what they're going with for him.
I like it. I love this whole thing, and I see that we're hopefully moving through the AJ Hardy rivalry, which started on the other show. It's time to wrap that up and get moving on to something else. Again, the monster on the outside is such a distraction. This is a fairly good performance, but I think the story we're telling is more important is how hard it's going to be to beat a wrestler with AJ's capabilities anyway if you constantly have to look over your shoulder whenever you're doing things.
All he needs is an edge.
Right, he doesn't even need that, right?
That edge. He doesn't really need that, but to make it unfair, all he needs is a little edge.
Yes. Now, the phenomenal forearm leads to the 1, 2, 3, and captain of Team SmackDown, it is AJ Styles, self-appointed, I do believe. Elias plants a guitar on Jeff, and we are off and running with an Elias-Jeff Hardy feud that has been started a little while ago. I'm willing to wait and see how that goes. You?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
R-Truth with the very confusing I Am Dangerous promo.
Mm-hmm.
Gulak.
I have a friend who actually named his kid, his son's middle name is, and you have a friend whose son's middle name is Dangerously. Or is it Dangerous?
Really?
Danger. I think it's Danger. Yeah.
Really?
Danger is his middle name.
Who is this?
Nate's brother.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, his son's middle name is Danger.
That is awesome.
Isn't that great?
Yes. Okay, back to the stuff here. Gulak and Akira are going to wrestle the Lucha House Party, and the 24/7 champ is going to wind up coming out to watch because he's dangerous. And this winds up turning into...
not too bright.
Right. This winds up turning into 2 matches at one time as Akira attacks Truth during his match with someone else, and that winds up leading to... I mean, it literally is 2 matches at one time, which was actually kind of a cool twist on all of the stupidness of all this.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes when you're in the land of absurd, why not make it more absurd?
Yeah, just amplify it.
Yeah, Lindsay pins Gulak on a crossbody, and Truth kicks out 4 times and runs away. I don't know. They're doing everything they can to try to make this thing make sense.
If there was just some point to that belt, it would be like you kind of do it like a TV title belt or something like that. That if you manage to hold the belt for like 30 consecutive days, you got a title shot or something like that. You know, anything to make that thing have some value to it.
Even if it was an Intercontinental or a U.S. title shot.
Yeah.
You know, you have a chance. You have the opportunity to move up the card a little bit. It almost feels like the only reason you have this belt is to give R-Truth something to do.
Yeah.
Which is, I like R-Truth, so I'm not opposed to that, but it does seem like he's still talented enough we could do something else with him, but I feel like we have this convo every week. Okay, we have a mad tea party. Alexa is late, but she brought tea. The secret ingredient to the tea was arsenic, which killed Rambling Rabbit.
Poor Rambling Rabbit.
So many deaths, so little time. I'm mad and you're mad. We're all a little mad. This place is where magical memories and nightmares walk hand in hand. Where you don't have to hide from anything anymore. You're safe because he heals and comforts and protects you, was what Bray said here. Eyes go white. As the Fiend's hand goes in front of Alexa, her eyes go white. And she says, let him in. And then they kind of giggle, ha ha ha. And then, of course, Orton will be on the Funhouse. Are you liking... Oh, and then they close in on the picture of... They've never closed in on that picture before that's been in the Funhouse all along. Which is where kind of all this starts, right? When Orton burns down the house.
Yep. So the plot line's there. The plot line is there whenever they need to pull that string, you know. Do
you like Bliss's move into the house?
I do. she's done a great job with it. I mean, it could have sucked, but she's really worked, I think, hard on making this seem cool, seem special.
Correct. Now then we move on to Keith Lee doing a backstage interview where he lets you know that Braun couldn't win clean. He cheated. He gonna get his, as is Elias, by the way, because he's about to walk with him. Nia and Shayna turn in their wish list for Survivor Series teams, and they did not put each other on the teams. Dude, I love this odd pairing of. I never would have thought this could work. And Nia and Shayna walking around complaining about each other while beating up other people is really good.
It is. It's turned out really well because they're doing a good job of it. I did not know, I'm not a big Nia Jax fan, but she is in this role. She has done really good.
I had no clue both of them had personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, I did, like you said before, if you hear Shayna on a podcast, you know she does. And if you ever watched Nia on whatever that show is on Bravo or whatever, right? The Divas show. If you've ever watched that, she's funny and she's nice. And so I didn't get, I didn't really understand, why that didn't transfer over. And they finally figured out a way to get that onto the screen for us to enjoy during actual shows, which is good. Elias album dropped, and it was the number one soundtrack of the week downloading. I don't understand how Elias's album was a soundtrack for anything. That threw me off. Does he have a movie coming out?
I don't think so. I think it counts as a soundtrack for a WWE show.
Ah.
I still don't think that works.
That's a lie.
That's a long bow to pull right there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's match time. Elias gets Keith outside of the ring quickly. Lee pounces him over the desk. We cut to commercial. Elias is a really good wrestler. Sometimes we forget about that due to the fact that his gimmick kind of shies away from him ever having an actual match. You know what I mean?
But he is. He's good at all the stuff between the ropes.
Yeah, and he hangs in there long enough to catch a spirit bomb and a clean win by Keith. And so now I guess we have Keith and AJ on the team, which sounds fairly formidable to me.
They can keep murdering each other.
Yes, that's always the trick to these Survivor Series. Can we get along? Hurt Business doesn't like it when people pee, evidently.
No, they're opposed to it.
They're backstage. Some poor guy is ready to go to the bathroom, and MVP won't let him, I guess, was the point there? I don't know. They're just bullies.
Yeah, and I don't understand any of, the weird booking of them as the heroes against Retribution, and then they're jerks to everybody else. It's interesting.
It's almost like they're not really supposed to be the heroes in this. It's almost somehow Retribution is to be the sympathetic figure here. But we'll get there, right? Randy Orton says the only people that need
to get there with it.
right. The only people that need to worry are those that cross him. And then he will bring Retribution. No. That would be wrong because Retribution is already somebody else's gimmick. He can't bring that. Speaking of which, Retribution versus Hurt Business in an 8-man tag. Great Retribution hype video. Ah, yes it was. And Ali was clever here. He gets the girl to act crazy because they always act crazy. He's wrestling MVP, or actually the crazy. I wanted to call him Crazy Steve, but he's not, right? His name's Mace, maybe.
Yeah.
Crazy Steve would be something else. That's Impact. And Mia Yim, which I don't know what her name is on this show, she acts like she's got spiders on her and starts yelling and flopping around and winds up rolling into the ring. MVP looks on and what is going on? Gets rolled up by Mace, 1, 2, 3, and then Mia Yim is fine, and so we're not really that crazy.
Dio Madden.
What? Dio Madden.
Dio.
Right. But this works, and I found that clever, right? Again, here we are now. We've got this good little hype video. We've got an 8-man tag, and then Lashley's next, and you got to get Lashley out of there if you want to win. And so Dijakovic takes the bullet, or is it Mace that takes the bullet?
I think Dijakovic takes the bullet.
And they fight outside of the ring and fight so far away that Lashley and him never go back to the ring. So
double count out.
Right. And I'm willing to trade my big guy for your big guy because your big guy is the best guy in the fight, right?
Uh-huh.
So again, we're doing everything right here, buddy. Everything right. And then they lose the match anyway.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Stunning booking, isn't it?
I don't, because I just keep saying, I tried to defend it last week, and then after this, and we'll just go ahead and do it now. After this, Mustafa Ali gives this promo about, and he's been killing these promos, but this one is something to the effect of, this isn't about wins and losses. It's the nearest I could tell what he was trying to say, in that I'm here to cause chaos, and he may have even said chaos is my superpower. And basically, the only fantasy book here, if you're me, right? The only way you could possibly save this is him to utilize his hacker man power and have MVP and Lashley and Shelton laughing about Cedric behind his back. Cedric being like, it's cool, I get it, and then flipping on them during a match somehow, and then aligning himself with Ali, and then maybe trying to bring Ricochet in there, and you could have these 3 little really great wrestlers protected by these big guys. Because I don't know how good the really, what is his name, Mace. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how good he is in the ring. The matches they've had really slowed down whenever he gets in the ring, so he may need seasoning there. So using him to just kind of walk out to the ring with a Ricochet, similar to what you have with AJ and his monster, would be good. And having 3 superhuman athlete wrestlers in a faction would make sense. And to me, that would save this in a way. Because, okay, I couldn't get it done on my own. I'm going to bring in these guys that I know are just like me and have been pushed aside like me. Other than that, I don't see how this. I don't know how they pull this out, man.
Yeah, I don't know if they got any plan from week to week. I just don't.
Right. That could be the underlying issue.
I just think they make it up every week, and sometimes they forget what they did last week.
Right. And so then we wind up with Angel Garza, who is backstage trying to give a rose to Mandy and or Dana Brooke, and that course winds up turning into Shayna and Nia walking up on Garza, and there's a little back and forth between Mandy and Dana and Shayna and Nia about who should be in the team. And Shayna was so funny the way she looked at Garza when he tried to give her the rose. But the look of and Nia rejected it at first, and then the look of disgust in Shayna's face when Nia does accept it, and Angel kind of blushes at her, and she blushes back, was pure money, right?
Oh, it was perfect. It was perfect.
And now
really?
we're going, huh?
She was like, really?
Yeah.
Garza?
And we're going to wind up getting some form of a match to decide the first person to be on the team with Shayna and Nia, right?
No, they already decided that it's Dana, Mandy, Shayna, and Nia.
Correct. We're going for the fifth member.
Person.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. And we have basically the other girls are going to fight for the 5th spot, right? Okay.
Yep.
Then we're moving on to Miz versus Drew. Morrison is outside for the double team stuff until he winds up, I believe, getting ejected. And then, but basically Drew beats them both. He didn't get ejected. That was a different week. He got ejected. Drew beats them both right here.
Yeah,
and it's all right. As Matthew McConaughey and children are in the Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Matthew McConaughey, dude.
Dude, he's in my top list of people I'd want to hang out with.
Have you heard the story behind All Right?
Uh-uh.
He's doing an interview, and he hasn't really acted before, and he's sitting in the car trying to figure out what he's supposed to say, and he's going over in his head, okay, who is this guy? And he goes, I got the Camaro, I got the A-Track in, I got the weed, I got the booze. And so he winds up going over and over, narrowing down who it is to like 3 of those things, right? I got the weed, I got the girls, I got the car, and then they say action, and he realizes he's got all 3, and he just goes, all right.
And magic was made.
Isn't it crazy? Because I mean,
awesome.
It follows him for years. You know that line in another throwaway movie, right?
Exactly.
Another throwaway movie, but he stood out so much in one of the. What's more awkward when you're in high school than the dude that's older than everybody else but has befriended the high school guys and hangs out with the girl. He's at every school, and it's creepy. Yeah. Or at least he was when I was younger.
He's Fonzie, man. For some reason, we started noticing he was creepy.
Right. What Arthur Fonzarelli or Henry Winkler was able to do in a role that is inherently creepy should be commended, or it's the devil's work. I'm not 100% sure which.
One of the two.
Yes. New Day is imitating the Street Profits, and I did not think I needed this in my life, and I did. Never go full Dawkins as Kofi is drifting off into sleep while he's talking, which is the great, from another Matthew McConaughey movie, right? What's the name of that? Tropic Thunder?
Oh, yeah.
Which is different from Tropic Thunder in Paradise.
Yes. Very different.
Much better, actually.
Much better. They both involve boats, I think, though.
Correct.
At some point. Correct.
Okay. As Kofi drifts off to sleep. Yes. And out come... What do we have? We have Dolph and we have Rude come out to get to complaining, and Asuka rolls up on them and lets them know. And this is how we kind of announced the champion versus champions at Survivor Series thing.
Uh-huh.
And then Asuka's, you could put Asuka literally anywhere, and if she doesn't want to speak English, it doesn't matter. Her vibe rules. And again, her dancing with Woods and Kofi.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I needed that in my life.
But you did.
And I'll be honest with you, I love Kofi and Woods. Watching them dance gets on my nerves at this point. It's been years. But you stick her in the middle of it, and it's funny all over again. Because she has such a exuberant way about her. It's amazing how she saves everything she walks into. Drew gets this interview with Charlie in which he says, if Randy's going to be on a moment of bliss, maybe I'll have to drop by. Which, again, I'm not sure what Adam Pearce is doing. I don't think he watches the show while it's going on. You would think somebody would inform him these things are going to happen as these characters continue to admit that they're about to break the rules. I hate rule breaking.
Didn't Adam Pearce used to be a wrestler?
Yeah, you would think.
You would realize
that he would
watched product before.
Pick right up on these things, right? Okay. Fifth member in Fatal 4-Way match. We have Lana, Lacey, Peyton, Nikki. And Peyton and Nikki really got to showcase how great they are in this match.
They stood out.
Well, that was the purpose, because you could tell that was what they wanted to happen. And I think everybody knows Lacey is formidable. So the story we're going to tell, of course, is that Lana hornswoggers her way into a quick win here as Evans is out and she rolls the she rolls somebody off of her and falls down on top of it. But I also think they did a good job of both giving us something for Dana, Mandy, and Shayna and Nia to kind of play off of as we get to Survivor Series, while also making the division look formidable and giving a person like Peyton, who hasn't had a lot of singles work, a chance to shine in that environment. And then, of course, we get I guess this is a weekly thing now, because Nia and Lana are on the same team, and Lana is rewarded with her victory by once again getting Samoa dropped through a table, which seems to only break when there is enough force to put 82-pound Lana through a table, which tells you how hard Nia is dropping her.
Maybe the challenge is not really for Lana to get through this. Maybe the challenge is Vince McMahon said, you're going to have to take Lana out there and put her through a table for 10 straight weeks. And if you injure her, you're back in NXT. I don't think so, though.
No, I don't either. Charlie interviews Randy, and he's going to be on a moment. Are you going to be on a moment of bliss? Yes. Bray's coming. Yes. I'm not afraid of the Fiend. It's pretty simple stuff here, right?
I'm not afraid of them. They should be afraid of me, kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Mustafa Ali does the thing we've already talked about there. Then we get Sheamus versus Matt Riddle in what I thought was a fantastic wrestling match.
It was really good.
Sheamus has gotten to the point where he doesn't do bad anymore. And Riddle's really getting good at the selling aspects of it all. But, Sheamus, in most of these matches, Sheamus does well early, and then he has to withstand an extended flurry from whoever he's wrestling, right? Because he hasn't been, the Shorty G matches were a month ago or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been wrestling the Big E's of the world and guys like that lately. And Matt Riddle. And to me, his job, he winds up getting the win with a bro kick. But to me, the job here was to make Riddle look really, really good while losing to him. While beating him, right? And I'm sorry I said that convoluted. And I think he's doing that more and more, and he's been putting guys over. The work he's done lately is some of the best work of a pretty prestigious career.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think he's at the top of his game right now.
And now we have the moment we've all been waiting for, the moment of bliss, with Randy Orton, Alexa Bliss being the interviewer. And she offers him a chair and says she won't bite. And he's like, no, I'll stand, because he's got a feeling the Fiend is there. Alexa is just so good, man. She's so good. Did she actually say super duper performance? I think she did. Then she said, it was no surprise that you guys burned the house down, which was, of course, alluding to, she slid in all these little quirks every time she goes on one of these things right here. And, of course, Drew's music hits after he asks for the Fiend, and he attacks and destroys the set and Orton. And Bliss is perched. Dude, as they're going after each other, trying to kill each other, and she's sitting there with her legs crossed, giggling, it was so spot on great.
It was surreal, wasn't it? It was perfect.
Yes. Lights go out, red lights come on, and as Orton was trying to retreat, the Fiend is at the top of the runway. Behind him. And he realizes it. And the beauty of what Randy Orton is able to do is he lets you know with his eyes. He knows what's behind him. I don't even think he ever turned around to see the Fiend.
Which was a point. I think there's a point to that.
What do you think it is?
The whole plot line. That he never turned around.
Right.
He made his choice.
Right. I'd rather face Drew than deal with him right now. And he walks right back down to the ring. He gets back into it with Drew, and he winds up getting the better of Drew eventually. And like you said, I think that was to let us know that he just really doesn't want to deal with the Fiend right now.
Mm-mm.
And so here's my question though. Where do we go with this? Is this the way? Is Randy a transitional champion to get the belt back on Drew because the Fiend will cost him that somehow right here?
Yeah, and then have a feud with Randy. But no, I don't think so. I think they're going to try to keep it on him until Edge comes back and they can wrestle at Mania.
Well, dude, here's my question though. Do you have the Fiend lose a rivalry?
I don't think so.
What about this?
Maybe they just keep postponing it. Maybe he's like, whenever Randy tries to go somewhere else and get away from something, the Fiend hems him back in. You know, like Edge comes back and he tries to run from Edge and the Fiend won't let him run.
What if you had what you're talking about and it ends in a triple threat? And I'm going to go back to what I've been harping on for over a year now. A triple threat in which the Fiend purposely transfers the power to Drew. He puts away Edge, right? That's even better, right? Is if the Fiend
that buries the dagger in Randy. That's like, I'm not only going to beat you, I'm going to beat you with the guy you hate the most.
Right.
I don't need the belt.
What would be great,
you.
Dude? You want to go long term? What would be great is if he did this, took the belt off of Randy, put it on Edge, and then got into a feud with Edge that turned Edge back into the real rated R superstar and not this guy with grit we've had for the last year.
Yes.
Where he's going around smoking guys with chairs and taking advantage of situations and just, you know what I mean? Because I would love to have a run of that Edge to close out his career, because that's the guy.
Yeah.
I love watching Edge wrestle, whether he's he doesn't really wrestle like a babyface when he's a babyface anyway. Yeah, I mean, he has enough cachet, it doesn't matter like that. But that was the guy. You know,
that was the guy that got me into Edge more than I'd have watched him for years, but that was the guy who made him a superstar.
It's time for SmackDown. Are you ready? Roman walks to the ring. Jay is already in the ring. It is indentured servant time. Jay rips the mic from Paul's hand. You didn't make me quit. Take the oath, Roman says. You used the only person that... Jay is so hurt right here and crying, and he's like, you used the only person that I would quit for. Probably frustrating his wife just a tad, but hey, we'll move on.
And his kids.
Both of them, right? But anyway, we'll move on. Roman was beautiful here. Whispers sternly, of course I did. Of course I did. This whole segment is gut-wrenching because he just tells him, hey, this is who you got to be willing to be in the spot I'm in. That's not you yet. You know what I mean? You're going to have to come to this level, and I have to show you the way. And when he says, you got to the end of the show to figure it out. You're with me or you're out. And when he actually gets to tell him, Afa and Sika signed off on this, buddy. From the youngest to the oldest. This is mine. This is my family. And it's cool too that it's really got nothing to do with the WWE. It has to do with the hierarchy of what they have and what they have considered even prior to this, where they talk about themselves as a Samoan dynasty. You know what I mean? And it's just so neat to me. Now then we're going to get Jay versus Daniel Bryan later and Kevin Owens versus Dolph now. And so that's the bookends of the show. Those are your matchups. Kevin Owens versus Dolph is always going to be good. Rude's out there with him.
He gets ejected pretty
quickly.
Midway tonight.
Pretty quickly. The match was okay. It's not that it was bad. It's just I've seen this matchup a little bit, and I think they purposely didn't give us a whole lot new, but the finishing segment was just great. You got the dueling The dueling roll-ups. Oh, man. One thing they did do, though, he did the pop-up power bomb where he
I was about to say, the pop-up power bomb is Staymaster.
Right. The transitions, the counters in this match were really, really well done throughout. Now, the dueling roll-up counters were good. And then, of course, he KO Kevin Owens counters a super kick with a spin stunner, which finishes the match, and we have KO on the team, which is great because he's the dang man. And Natty and Billy Kay are now backstage arguing over being on the team, and of course in walks Adam Pearce. Natty seems to think, and of course Bianca Belair also rolls up on them, and this is going to wind up being a triple threat, but I want you to focus on the difference between being incredibly cool and not incredibly cool.
Are we talking about Bianca Belair and Natty?
Yes, and I love Natty. And part of what makes Natty wonderful is that she is so not cool, right?
Uh-huh.
But when old girl is clapping her hands saying the EST, it comes off so cool, right? When Natty says, I'm the boat.
I don't think that sounds near as cute as you think it does.
With so much pride. I'm the best of all. And I get it, too, the best there ever is, the best there ever was, old Uncle Brett, and you're trying to piggyback off of that, and you're a heart, and no, it don't work. Lars' interview with Graves, and wow, this was something, man. He was called a freak, and it made him cry, and while he cried in elementary school as he was called a freak, the teachers and students laughed with him, and then 20 minutes. So he endured this for 20 minutes. I don't know what school he went to. I don't know what school he went to, but those teachers should have been reprimanded. Well,
I'm just going to say right now, Kevin, I've laughed at people before, but I don't know if I can laugh at people for 20 minutes. They're not funny for that long usually. Usually I've gotten bored and wandered off, laughed at something else.
Right. And yet here we were, just going around the room, I'm guessing, shooting barbs at poor young Lars, who then I'm assuming bludgeoned the kids because he never gets to go back to school after this. He gets expelled.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? They had it coming, and so did the teacher.
Yeah.
I hope he put his hands on the teacher, too, because the teacher should have said, hey, that's not cool. That guy right there.
What if Corey got so you were expelled for attacking the other students? Lars had gone, no, I send inappropriate messages to my teacher. Totally different
story. Woo! Dude, truth and fiction as they merge.
Oh, Lord.
What would have been what would have been?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I've seen this whole run before. Big guy explodes on scene, big guy beats everybody up, Vince McMahon gets tired of big guy becomes a jobber.
What if he would have said, I was kicked out of school, but joke's on them, they were unable to do the Shrek live action show now.
He is Shrek.
All right, we get a triple threat match. Bianca Belair, Natty, and Billy Kay. Oh, my bad. Aliyah has talked to her mom, and her mom is totally cool with what's going on. But Ray and Dominic are not. And as she explains this to young Murphy, fairly young Murphy? As young Aliyah explains this to fairly young Murphy. Murphy decides that he needs to apologize to the world and them specifically in the ring. We go to this match. Billy was okay here. Natty was good. Bianca was good. This match had its moments that I thought were good. Now, Billy winds up walking into the KOD. It was a fun match, and I hope they don't give up on Billy, but she lacks fluidity right now, and it kind of, you could see in the match, things would get moving, and then she would get involved, and she had her moments. And outside of the ring, she's as good as anybody at being funny and all that stuff, but you do have to be able to go a little bit.
Well, you watched, when we were talking about earlier on Raw, you watch Peyton Royce's performance, and you watch her performance, and you see the difference.
And why they probably split them up.
Yeah.
Because they think Peyton can be a champion. And they probably think Billie Kay can be what she is, which is comic relief right now. But if she can just kind of fandango it a little, where you weren't that good at one point, but you managed to achieve it. You know, she's a big girl. Dude, the big boot she put on somebody in that match. The sell and the big boot is the move, is what matters anyway, right? But it was smooth.
Oh yeah,
it was smooth.
Oh yeah.
And she had another move where she did like a double Conrada thing to both girls, which was pretty cool, you know. But that again, though, that was totally Natty and Bianca, not her.
Yeah.
Carmella comes on and tells us that she calls the shots, she makes the rules, and next week we will see why she is untouchable as she drinks champagne.
I have no idea what this is and why it's happening.
I don't understand why we had to rebuild her character in order to she was this character, right? No, I guess the Queen of Staten Island was a little different than the I'm wearing high heels version we're getting now.
Well, this character was the one they wanted to stick, the one who's over in Impact now with
Deanna Purrazzo.
Yeah, no, the one who used to team with Dana Brooke in NXT.
Not Deanna Purrazzo?
No, not Deanna Purrazzo. But, they've tried this gimmick a couple times and it's never stuck. So I think they did it with that other girl who couldn't, the redhead, Eva Marie. They tried it with her.
Ah, yeah, they did try it with Eva Marie a lot. But now Carmella's really good at getting stuff over, so we'll see. But again, like you said, she spent 2 weeks or 6 months being nice with R-Truth, and now we have to totally rebuild her character. I mean, I almost feel like she could have just walked out there in heels and said, I'm done with that, I'm this, and we would have been okay, but whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Murphy and Elia Mysterio come to the ring, and Murphy feels he needs to apologize face-to-face, and he begs for Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio to come out. But the Messiah's music hits, and Seth is a forgiving man here. He lets him know.
And open-minded.
Oh, he lets him know. He said, look, they're never going to forgive you, Murphy. They're never going to accept you or whatever, and they won't ever accept Elia. And whatever this is, they're not going to accept you guys. Even though they won't accept you, I will. I'll always forgive you, Murphy. I'm willing to marry you guys right now, if that's what you want. Seth is such a good guy. It was great, wasn't it? I know people are getting frustrated about it, but man, dude, she's 19 years old. Rey Mysterio is literally in the program with him. I mean, I guess I get it, but come on. You know what I mean? What do you think about all that?
I don't. Here's the thing.
Don't think about
acting, folks.
Yeah. Yes.
You've watched how many shows on television where,
much worse than this.
Much worse age gap than this that you weren't aware of, just because somebody doesn't look, how many shows like Dawson's Creek were like 25-year-old teenagers, stuff like that.
Yeah. Hey, what's crazy too is I listened to a podcast called The Blind Boy, and his guest was Sami Zayn, and it's actually wonderful. But Sammy points out in it somewhere that he said, I think wrestling and stand-up comics are the only people who people just confuse that their character is not really them. You know what I mean? Like Andrew,
they don't understand this is not real.
Like Andrew Dice Clay got hated, and pretty much his career ended on a couple of jokes that people thought were bad, and I get that. But also to think that that's how Andrew Dice Clay thinks, and not just what he thinks. Do you get what I'm saying?
I'm I'm a radical free speech guy, so yeah, I think that stuff is sad.
Well, you just with a comic, I get it a little bit, but it is obvious that most of them are playing some form of a character, right? And
Yes.
in WWE, you're not only playing a character, you're playing a character kind of written for you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? So anyway, Dom winds up. They come.
Murphy and Seth end up getting into it,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and then
Dom comes
Does
out
Dom-
and attacks.
Yeah.
No, Dom attacks Seth first, right?
Yes.
As Seth is kind of telling them, you need to go away from your family. Romeo and Juliet's basically what's going on here,
yeah,
and he's giving, them a safe place, and Dom comes out in an insane brotherly thing and attacks poor Seth. And
I thought you were going to talk about his shirt. Go ahead.
correctness. And then, Ray's shirt was the shirt this time around. Dom had like his own T-shirt on that they sell on WWE.com. But, right? And then Ray had on some form of a Louis Vuitton sweater with flowers and butterflies or something, right? That was wild.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Amazing. And then, of course, Murphy pulls off Dom, attacks Seth as well. Ray comes down, and they all wind up still having trouble with Murphy. They're going to double team Murphy here as Seth retreats. Aaliyah gets in the way. She says she loves Murphy, plants a kiss on him, and as Ray has already demanded she leave, told her to vamonos, physically grabbed her by the arm, and we're supposed to believe they're the good guys here.
Exactly.
She turns to Murph, is kind of thrust into his arms by the evilness that is her father right here.
Yeah.
And as they retreat,
More Farquaad himself.
right, as they walk up the railway here, the look on Seth's face when he sees those two kissing was
It's
so
hilarious.
so priceless.
He's like, my revenge is complete.
I have done
Ray, he's like, I've done everything to you.
I have done all I can do. And even the accidental things like my disciple happening to somehow fall in love with your daughter, even that hurt your feelings. That probably hurt worse than me pulling your eyeball out of your face. Twice.
Yes.
Oh.
Twice.
Street Profits versus Cesaro and Shinsuke. And Cesaro threw Montez about 10 feet in the air. And Montez jumped and then he kind of helped him up. That was crazy when he went over the railing.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he flew high.
This was great. I mean, I hate to see Cesaro and Shinsuke ever lose, but the Profits are who they are right now, and they're not going to lose. And the Dawkins I guess the new part of the addition to the finisher may be the Dawkins superplex into the frog splash from the ceiling, which is great,
Yeah, it's a good setup move. Puts him in the right position.
Talking about Sami Zayn, he's huge in every country. He's pubbing the Lashley versus Zayn match at Survivor Series by letting you know that Bobby is only the champion of the United States and that Sammy is not only the champion of the Intercontinental, multiple continents. He is also the perfect champion because he is worldly. He's huge in what was the most obscure country he named? Can you remember?
Botswana, maybe?
Botswana was it. And I almost thought he said bat guano, and I kind of threw me off for just a second because I'm pretty sure that wasn't what he meant, but yes. And then to hear Corey double down on that and let us know that it is true that he's huge in Botswana. Is that what you said?
Botswana?
But dude, Sammy was great here, and he was so just, he makes you want to just choke him.
Yeah.
Which is the role, that's the role. It's boss time, guys. The boss is still mad about the betrayal. But now that Bayley is in the rearview mirror, bang, Bayley's music hits. Bayley brings up, correctly we might add, that Sasha's won a lot of titles. She's never defended any of them. And that Bayley is going to do her a favor and take the title off of her next week in order that Asuka doesn't have to embarrass her at Survivor Series. Did you like this?
I did.
I did too. I felt like
two are money anytime you put them in the ring, or around the ring, or in the same room.
Yes, they're perfect for each other. Main event of the evening: Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Jay's on the attack early. Daniel Bryan gets it straight. Jay rolls out of the ring. Roman begins to walk to the ring, and we don't know what his role is, and it winds up being just an observer from the bottom of the ramp. This was pretty good. I think these guys can do better, and I hope we get to see them do better, and I feel like they will because of what winds up happening here, because Jay goes over clean.
They booked Jay Strong, buddy.
They booked Jay Strong. He goes over one of the best wrestlers in the world, clean as a whistle. But then when Roman approaches, Jay says, "I'm with you. You the head of the table." And he says, I understand now. And dude, he was so... It reminded me, he didn't really ever even look Roman in the eyes. Kind of like, you know how in the animal kingdom or sometimes with kings, you don't look them dead in the eyes, right? You avert direct eye contact because they tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it had that feel. I don't know if they researched these things or if it was natural or complete accident, but it worked for me. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, it worked well. I've noticed it when he did it.
Right. And he kicks the snot out of Daniel Bryan's head. Now, this is not a Jey Uso thing anymore. Remember, the Usos have been kind of a comedy routine here for a little while. And this is straight, Uso penitentiary stuff here, where he beats the snot out of Daniel Bryan, rolls him up onto the table.
All the time screaming, I understand now.
There was...
I understand now. That was cool.
There was a moment in the ring after the first super kick where he says, I understand, I love you too. And Roman says, make him understand how much you love me.
Yeah, I love that line, dude.
And, dude, that's when Daniel gets it turned up a notch on him. Although Jay did not quite make it to the table and took the corner of that table to his stomach and ribs. Oh, my God.
It awful, didn't it?
It looked like he rolled over onto the ground and thought, man, I hope we're going to commercial, and then realized, no, I can't just lay here as a mean guy and hold my belly, right? So I've got to finish this off. And he rolls over on top of it. And when he takes him, and I love the move because it looks so brutal, but it's always so smart because they cup their hands behind the head and then they slam their own knuckles into the table. Completely protecting the person's head, but looking as if, at any moment the guy's head might pop like a watermelon or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was great. Let's print up the Samoan Dynasty T-shirts, right?
Oh, the Bloodline T-shirts are ready, man.
And so my real question is this: can Aaliyah wrestle? Huh?
I don't know.
What if she can wrestle, bro? Huh?
Who's she gonna be wrestling now?
Put her in the women's division.
Oh my God.
Huh? You don't want the Messiah to have Aaliyah out there wrestling?
Lord, no.
Wait.
They'll make us watch out for 6 months.
You can't imagine a world in which Rey Mysterio's kid with very little actual in-ring training, main events every Friday night?
I can imagine it. I just really don't want to.
You already saw it. They did it with Dom.
I've seen it. Yeah. Good Lord.
Hey, and he could wrestle. Remember, Aaliyah might not even know she can wrestle. Remember the first time Dominic ever knew he could do a frog splash was when Ray said, go do it, right there in the middle of the ring on primetime TV.
Yeah.
So maybe next week, Seth goes out there and says, hey, you're going to need to give Dominic a curb stomp right here.
I mean, and Aaliyah's already, she got more muscle mass than Dom, so.
You ain't gonna let poor Dom off of it till he gets in the weight room, are you?
Man, dude, you can't. Dude, he wears stuff that accentuates it too.
Mm-hmm. That he's a long, thin, slender athlete.
Yeah,
He is.
that's one way to put it.
All right. You had a great week.
Yes, sir.
I had a great week too, man. This has been a Go Home Heat production, copyright 2020. For Justin and for me, KP, go home.